Okay, let's get into it. For so many people, when you talk about success philosophy, one title just, it stands above all the rest. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
It really does. It's this foundational text.
And today we're doing a deep dive into that book. The one that really, through sheer effort and organization, tried to codify what it takes to build massive wealth.
And you have to appreciate the scale of this project. I mean, this isn't just one guy's opinion.
No.
It's the result of over 25 years of continuous research. Hill's 13 principles. They were pulled directly from the lives, the actual achievements, of more than 500 incredibly wealthy men.
Starting with Andrew Carnegie, who sort of kicked the whole thing off.
He was the one who inspired it, who commissioned the research.
So our mission today is to give you the shortcut. We're going to try and strip away, all the commentary that's built up over the decades and get right to the core instruction.
What to do and the how to do it.
Exactly. The mental machinery you need to turn a thought, an impulse, into its real-world monetary equivalent.
It's basically a complete instruction manual built from the lived experiences of these industrial titans.
So if we're building this house of success, we have to start with the foundation. And Hill he's crystal clear on this. The absolute starting point for any achievement is desire.
Right?
But, most people want money. What's the difference between just, a weak wish and the kind of desire that Hill is talking about?
Wishing is totally passive.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything, and, well, doesn't produce anything either. Hill is absolutely insistent on this point.
Yeah.
Weak desires bring weak results.
So what's the alternative?
It has to be what he calls a burning desire.
Yeah.
I mean, the state of mind that's almost an obsession. It has to be so intense that it pushes out any possibility of failure.
And the genius of his system isn't just saying, oh, want it really badly. It's that he gives you a mechanism to actually formalize it, to give that desire shape and weight.
Yes, the 6 practical steps.
You're right. Can you walk us through those? Especially maybe the ones that people tend to just gloss over?
Well, they're all about commitment. First, you have to fix the exact amount of money you want. Not just a lot, but a specific number.
Oh, okay.
Second, you have to determine exactly what you plan to give in return for that money. Wealth doesn't just appear. There has to be a value exchange.
And that second step, that's where most people stumble right away, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They focus only on the getting.
Right.
The transaction has to be complete. Step 3 is setting a definite date, a deadline. 4 is creating a plan. And this is crucial, starting immediate action on it, whether you feel ready or not.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. And then 5 is you write it all down, the amount, the return, the date, the plan. A clear, concise statement.
And that 6th step, that's where the mental programming really kicks in, which takes us to the next principle, faith.
Exactly. You have to read that statement aloud twice a day, once before you go to sleep and again right when you wake up.
But it's not just reading the words.
No, the reading is almost secondary. As you read, you must see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money. That's how you induce the next principle, faith.
Faith can sound like this very emotional, almost spiritual thing, but Hill treats it like a programmable mechanism in your mind. How does he make that connection?
He defines faith as a state of mind that is entirely inducible. You create it. It's built by repeated instruction, by affirmation, by autosuggestion that you feed directly into your subconscious mind.
Ah, the subconscious.
Right. It's the engine, but it only acts on desires when they're mixed with emotion. And faith, he says, is the primary emotion it needs. Basically, belief is a skill you practice, not a feeling you just wait for.
That reframes the whole idea. And the power of this desire, when it's supercharged with faith, can be, well, unbelievable. I'm thinking about that really dramatic story Hill tells about his own son.
It's the ultimate example. It shows how persistence, fueled by that burning desire, can overcome what seems like, a fixed reality.
Tell us that story.
Well, his son was born without any physical signs of ears. The doctor said he'd be deaf, probably mute, but he refused to accept that. His burning desire wasn't just for his child to hear, but for him to succeed in spite of it.
And this wasn't magic. It was, like you said, methodical.
Totally methodical. They noticed the boy could hear music when he bit down on their Victrola phonograph. They realized sound could travel through bone conduction.
Wow.
And he used that. He just kept telling his son that this perceived weakness was actually his greatest asset. He made the boy believe it, instilled that faith, and that belief shaped his whole character.
And he eventually went on to capitalize on it, right? Helping a hearing aid company.
He did. It just proves that circumstance, nature itself, it can bend when it's confronted with a focused, definitive, emotionalized desire.
So once you have that foundation, desire, and faith, how do you start actually building the machine of success? That moves us into knowledge and planning.
Exactly. The next set of principles is all about implementation. It starts with specialized knowledge. And Hill's really blunt here. General knowledge is of but little use in accumulating money.
That's a pretty sharp critique of, our traditional education system.
It is. He says knowledge is only potential power. It becomes actual power when you organize it into a definite plan of action for a definite end.
And here's the key point, right? The person building the fortune doesn't even need to have all that knowledge themselves.
That's the most encouraging part. You can acquire it through what he calls a mastermind group. I mean, the classic example is Andrew Carnegie. He knew next to nothing about the technical process of making steel.
But he directed the whole show.
Because he surrounded himself with people who did. If you can organize and direct a group of specialized minds, you're just as educated as any of them. The knowledge is out there. It's the leadership and organization that count.
Which leads right into imagination, the workshop of the mind, where you organize all that. Can you break down the two types he talks about, synthetic versus creative?
Sure. Synthetic imagination is basically just rearranging old ideas, old plans into new combinations. It's what we use every day.
Okay.
Creative imagination, though. So that's what he calls the link to infinite intelligence. This is where hunches come from, where brand new radical ideas seem to just appear.
Like getting a brand new Lego brick you've never seen before, instead of just rebuilding with the ones you have.
That's a perfect analogy. And the synthetic imagination is what you use to take that new brick and build it into a tangible, workable plan.
The story that just perfectly illustrates this is The Enchanted Kettle.
Yes. So an old country doctor sells his secret formula and the kettle he brews it in to a young drug clerk for $500.
A steal.
Well, the doctor thought he was just selling objects, but the clerk knew he was buying an idea, and he had the one ingredient the doctor was missing: imagination, a burning desire.
He didn't just copy the drink.
No, he added something, a little tweak, a spark of creative genius, and it launched a global phenomenon.
A world-famous drink we all know today.
And that one idea, charged with imagination, built fortunes, a college, and employed thousands through the Depression. It proves that thoughts really are things.
So from the idea workshop, we have to move to action. And that means decision. The distinction Hill makes here is so sharp.
It's night and day. He says people who accumulate fortunes decide promptly and change their decisions slowly, if at all. People who fail do the exact opposite.
Mastery of procrastination, basically.
It's mastery of decision. Uncertainty is the enemy. Look at Henry Ford. He was determined to produce a V8 engine with all the cylinders cast in one block. His engineers told him for a full year it was impossible.
That sounds a lot like just being stubborn, which can be risky. How does Hill separate courageous decision from just being wrong and obstinate?
Hill would say that Ford's obstinacy was just persistence backed by a definite purpose. He had a vision. He commanded them to find a way, knowing the only way to fail was to give up on the decision. And, of course, they found a way. He won.
You can see that same kind of courage in an even higher stakes example he uses.
The Declaration of Independence.
Staking your actual life on a single choice.
Exactly. The freedom we have in this country started with an immediate, irreversible decision by a few people, Samuel Adams and John Hancock, and then the other 56 signers.
They knew they could be hanged.
And they decided in an instant and never wavered. That definitive choice created a spiritual power that just didn't recognize failure as an option.
That kind of courage requires, well, the next principle, persistence. Hill says it's to character what carbon is to steel.
It's non-negotiable. It's the sustained effort you need to induce faith. You're going to hit roadblocks, and without persistence, that initial desire just fizzles out. The classic story here is R.U. Darby.
The man who stopped 3 feet from gold.
Darby and his uncle were mining. They hit what they thought was the end of the gold vein, and they just quit. They sold all their machinery to a junk man for a few $100s.
Big mistake.
Huge. The junk man was smarter. He hired a geological expert who told him the vein hadn't ended, it had just shifted. He told him to drill just 3 feet from where Darby had stopped.
And he struck it rich.
Millions. But Darby learned from it. He took that lesson and applied it to his next career as an insurance salesman. He realized the principle was the same. A burning desire, backed by persistence, could be transmuted into gold. He learned to just keep on keeping on.
But that relentless effort needs coordination. It needs a team. Which brings us to the mastermind principle, the driving force.
He defines it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in perfect harmony for a definite purpose.
And it's more than just having smart people around.
Much more. There's the economic power, sure. Carnegie credited his entire fortune to his mastermind group of 50 men.
But Hill talks about something he calls a psychic power being created. Now, to a modern listener, that sounds a little out there.
It does, but you can think of it as organizational alchemy, or just radical synergy. When minds truly coordinate in harmony, he believes a third more powerful mind and increased energy is created.
So the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
Exponentially greater. And that collective energy becomes available to every single person in the group.
The creation of U.S. Steel is the proof of that concept, right?
It's the ultimate proof. Charles Schwab, one of Carnegie's guys, presented a single idea at a dinner with J.P. Morgan. He conveyed this plan for the future of steel with so much faith, so much eloquence.
They bought it on the spot.
They did. And that one harmonized idea from a mastermind group led to the creation of the United States Steel Corporation. It generated something like $600 million in profit from that one transaction. That's the power he's talking about.
Okay, we have to touch on maybe the most, let's say, fascinating and maybe misunderstood principle, sex transmutation.
The 10th step. It's really all about energy management. Hill saw that the emotion of sex is the most powerful human desire.
By far.
Transmutation just means switching the mind's focus from thoughts of physical expression to other creative, constructive thoughts, redirecting that powerful energy toward your definite purpose.
He suggests that the most successful people have a highly developed sex nature, but they've learned how to channel it.
Exactly. When you harness that drive, it keeps all its intensity, the imagination, the courage, the urgency, and becomes this concentrated force for achievement. He suggests it's why many men don't hit their stride until their 40s or 50s. They've finally learned, maybe by accident, how to manage that immense power instead of just dissipating it.
So as we bring the principles together, we have to talk about the final barrier. The reason most people stop 3 feet from the gold? The 6 basic fears. The ghosts.
Right. The list is poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. These are the negative thoughts that will paralyze your subconscious mind if you let them.
And for financial ambition, which two are the biggest killers?
The fear of poverty is number one. It just destroys your reason, kills your imagination. It's the literal opposite of desire. But maybe the most insidious, because it's so social, is the fear of criticism. This is why, as he says, most ideas are stillborn.
People are afraid of what other people will think, what their friends will say, what their family will say if they try something new and fail.
Exactly. That fear of ridicule is so deeply embedded, it creates these self-inflicted inferiority complexes. It's why fashion changes every season. Companies capitalize on our fear of being criticized for being out of style. If you can't master that fear, you will never, ever put your plan into action.
So if your mind is just constantly being attacked by these fears, how do you master them? What's the cure?
The cure is right back in the foundational principles. Nature has given you absolute control over one thing and one thing only: your thought. Fear impulses can't be turned into financial gain. So mastery comes from making a blanket decision that nothing in life is worth the price of worry, and then just ruthlessly focusing your mind on your definite purpose. That focus literally crowds the fear out.
So the ultimate takeaway from all these years of research, all these fortunes, is that getting rich is never about chance or luck.
Never. It comes in response to definite demands, based on applying definite principles: desire, decision, faith, persistence, and organized planning. It's a formula.
And that's such a crucial thing for you to understand. Both poverty and riches are simply the offspring of thought. The only difference is the control you have over those thoughts.
Which brings us to the final critical observation from Henry Ford's example. He said the only difference between him and his thousands of employees was this: Ford has a mind and controls it. The others have minds which they do not try to control.
That's powerful.
So as you think about applying these principles, you have to ask yourself that question every single day. Do you control your mind, or does your mind control you?